Do not miss out on the power that you have. Do not ignore what's there, because getting those scars were hard. They're there. They're there. They're a part of you. They will not go away. We cannot ignore them. We cannot pretend that they do not exist. They are a part of you. So let it be your story. Not your story of limiting beliefs. Not your story about why you can't get ahead, but the story about why you were made for something better.
If you can find the strength to embrace your past, it makes you feel strong enough to walk forward into your future.
You did not come this far to only come this far.
One of the most powerful things that happens on day one is an exercise that we do called Stand Up for Your Sister. We're gonna do an exercise this morning. We're gonna talk about some hard things. We're gonna get into it, and we're gonna acknowledge what we've gone through with truth and with courage and with compassion. We came up with the concept before we were planning the first rise because we wanted a way to equalize everybody in the room. We wanted a way for you to understand that you and the women around you, no matter where you come from, have a lot more in common than you have different. We also wanted to get across the idea that you are not the only one who's walked through hard things. You are not the only one who has experienced these things that are difficult or life-changing or devastating. You're not the only one. Everyone in the room gets a piece of paper that has 30 sentences on it.
So what's gonna happen is it's a list of yes or no questions. And before you think about how you're going to answer them, just know that 100% of this is anonymous. Only you know what you're filling in.
We ask you to check any box that applies to you. And the sentences are brutal. It's things like, I have been raped. I have been addicted to illegal drugs. I have used food as a way to cope. I hate the way I look. They're really hard truths that some of us don't even acknowledge until they're in front of us. And we ask everyone in the room to check any box that applies to them. We ask you to fold it up. And then we ask you, and there's always this moment of panic in the room because people have now just admitted really hard truths that sometimes nobody knows about them. And we ask you to hand it to the woman next to you. And then we ask you to pass it backwards. And then we ask you to pass it forward, and we ask you to pass and pass and pass until you don't know where your paper is in the room, and nobody knows where their paper is in the room, and the person holding yours doesn't know that it's yours. And then one by one, we read off the sentences, and we ask you to stand up for your sister. If you won't stand up for your own trauma or your own pain, will you stand up for hers? Will you carry this with her in this moment? Will you stand up and acknowledge what she's walked through? And it is, it's really hard to watch. It's hard, and it's also incredible. It's incredible because you're watching these people and you're like, how are you still here? You know, when you ask the question, who has lost a child, who's thought about suicide, who has suffered severe depression or anxiety or panic attacks, and half the women in the room stand up. It's like, it's devastating that there is so much pain and we're all still here. We start with, okay, this is where we've come from. This is what we walk through. And we get to decide right now, does that make us a victim or does that make us a warrior? Does that make us strong and bold and courageous and capable of getting through anything because we've already walked through so much? The one that killed me this year, killed me, because I did not know that this many women are struggling this, was one of the sentences is, I hate the way I look. It doesn't say I don't like the way I look or I wish I could lose weight. It says I hate the way I look. And I think almost every woman in the building stood up. If you have 700 women in one place, you probably have a pretty good example of the population. I can't believe that this many women hate any part of themselves. It gutted me. And honestly, then my brain immediately is like, how do we fix this? What are we doing? What are we creating? What kind of content are we putting out in the world to help women get past this? Because God, you are like, everything about you is such a gift. And that you would hate any part of it. That you would hate something that someone else wishes that they had. Our perception of ourselves is so twisted. That killed me. We'll for sure have something next year that speaks to that. I mean, that's honestly how every single thing that we've created has come about, is the women that are in our tribe have told us things, or we've had an experience like this where you're like, oh, this is a horrible problem, and we've got to find something that we can give that helps with this. Sorry, that was off on a tangent, but I'm pretty sure when it happened in the room, I'm pretty sure on stage I started crying because I was just so devastated that all I can see are these beautiful warriors, and that they would see anything wrong with that. That kills me.
There's some struggles. There's some hard stories in this room. And there's some warriors in this room. You are here. You are here. You are here. It didn't get you. It didn't kill you. It didn't stop you. You are still here.